I still do not believe AI can replace any tutor. It can be only supportive.
Hello, everyone. It's Ryan Williams here again for the Full Stack Leader. And this week, I'm excited to be here with Albert Poghosyan. He is the CEO of Build Up School. It's an amazing learning facility that they're teaching people how to work with AI in today's world, which we'll get to in just a minute. But Albert, it's great to have you here. I'm excited to talk tech leadership with you. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Ryan, for inviting me.
Awesome. So I think your history is actually really interesting, how you got started and where you ended up. We talked to a lot of tech leaders, but very few of them start as bakers. I was wondering, tell me a little bit about how you got into the world of baking and how did that transition into tech leadership?
It was a hobby. I enjoyed doing a lot of different things, and still I'm doing. Every new season, I'm learning something new. So I'm archer and motorcyclist, and I'm flying planes. But literally, I always had this dream, like one day I'll build something for the world. And my dream at the time was like, oh, I have to be something with digital stuff. And I didn't know what it will be. And I was like, but it have to be for everyone. But of course, I started small. I started building websites. For some reason, everybody liked it. I built so many of them. Then I got into education. So it was University of Salford, and it was a very unique program for e-governance. And I was thinking like, yes, for the future, government going to be online, and I have to figure it out. So when I got in, my thesis was about e-governance and all of the, access to the services and how you manage your passwords and logins and everything. It was called federated identity management. And when I presented to the board of the school, like, I'm willing to write about this, everybody like, what? No, why do you want to write about that? And I told them, like, I see the future, that everything, connected with one single password, one single access. I eventually convinced them. Right, I've been living all over the world after that. I've been working in Germany, Berlin for 3 years, and Beijing, doing some great projects there. Been a little bit in Shanghai. I moved to US 2015. It was a time when VR going viral at some point. I don't know how this happened, but we got in with Google and they saw what we're doing and they were like, hey guys, we have some clients we can't serve. We can give you some. And we were like, yes. And then they end up in 2 years, they gave us 300 top brands. We worked with New York Times, Coca-Cola, American Airlines. We filmed a Dead Mouse concert with Absolute Vodka, or we've created an experience for Marc Jacobs for New York Fashion Week. We have done a tremendous number of experiences. We have got into Techstars. We have got a really good product. And then Mozilla Foundation saw it and they built exactly the same, exactly. So we could manage to create community since they had already. We start using their code. Eventually, I've done a lot of things in VR. I created 360 stories. We worked with all of the top travel corporations like TripAdvisor, Along the Planet, Hit Your Guide. All of the top guys, we have been partnering with them. And then COVID happened and all of the travel stops. And we were like on the edge, like signing contract with Snapchat to build something great. And then there was no travel. Our traffic goes over the rules, like 10x, but our revenue goes zero in just like a time of a couple weeks. So I've done crazy amount of things, like both production and manufacturing and digital building and digital content building. Working with a crazy amount of people all over the world helping us to build the content for that system.
That's amazing. So a couple of questions. First of all, when you were building those VR experiences, were they full VR experiences or were they primarily 360 video experiences that you were using in VR?
It was mix of them. So some corporations requires us to make 3D. Others would not care much. But what was unique at the time, everybody was on Unity, and nobody would download another app. Everybody hates another app. So we start creating in JavaScript because like it was let's run this from browser. Why not?
Yeah.
And that's how we become successful because everybody was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do it on browser. We don't need another app. Just like run something. And then most of those brands would not even know what they want, what would the experience look like. So we suggest ex- like a great experience on the go. So we traveled, I think, like over 20 countries, creating the content and showing. And some of them would be like, no, we don't like it. But we just traveled the world for that. Again, let's do another one. Working with big corporations, and especially with very experienced advertising agencies, that was very nice. But of course, like very tiring.
Yeah, I imagine you came up with a lot of scenarios in that. One thing I was wondering though is if you take this theme of like baking to VR creation and creating stories in these immersive worlds, and then into kind of some of the stuff you're doing now with AI, um, what are the common themes in there that you relate to, and why you found all three interesting?
Honestly, like the only theme I always had is like to solve people problem. Like if I can
Mhm.
find the problem, that's where I can inspire myself and inspire others in terms of leadership. And that's always was like, hey, there's this new thing. We have this new chance to get more people without paying crazy amount of US dollars and numbers of millions. Because like literally, if you even if you're building something great, you need millions to get to people. When it was like a wave and a lot of people like the Google Corporation was like selling it in huge numbers, those those experiences. And we were like on the wave. And I think every time when I was thinking like, hey, what would be the shortcut? How we can get there? It was always that thing. And same with AI. I don't think the AI is going to be that transformational like everybody's selling. I don't think it is that dangerous yet. But I think it's just another platform. Like they would sell data, big data, just like 10 years ago, and saying like that's the future. We'll do everything with big data. Same thing like they are selling AI. But together with that, just like a couple of days ago, OpenAI announced you can publish your app on OpenAI, like pretty much you have
Yeah,
done on.
yeah, they have the app
Yeah.
connections for the agents. Yeah,
So that's the chance. Like, but you have to know that it's a game, and they are going to at some moment they're going to copy your features and do it
Mhm.
themselves. And if you're ready for that, and if you know this is like all of the waves, it's going to happen. They will promote you, but at some time, either they will ask 50% of your revenue, or they will copy you and just like kick you out. This is going to
Yeah,
happen.
we've seen that model as developers, over the course of time, ranging all the way back to the original OSs. Right, they see features, they pick them. Like I would say, even the flashlight feature in the iPhone was its own app for a while, and then they decided, let's fill that feature and kind of put that app out of business. I'm sure we're going to see a ton of that as developers are creating things within the AI world too. How do you think you protect against some of that as a developer?
You can't. You just need to be aware about it, and that's it. If you're aware, if you understand what you're doing, it's going to happen. But just you have to be ready for it, and that's it. I think like this is normal for any capitalistic movement. Like look at the supermarkets. Like Walmart will do that, right? They see good selling product, they just introduce themselves. This is normal. If they invested a lot of money to create that platform to get the customer. That's how they will behave always.
Interesting. So maybe this is a good segue to jump into like, what are you doing right now, and what is Build Up School, and how does it work?
So honestly, hiring people is like very very hard right now. Like you can have massive amount, like for example, people from India. You can have any type of people, and the big problem right now would be all of those people started and outsourcing, and that's a huge mental problem because like they were used to be in a team where they were like, yeah, you shut up and you do whatever I said, right? All of the product design people would be in US and they would design and work with customers. And then all of the, building people would be in India, let's say, and then they would not be involved, like literally. And that mentality was a huge problem. And this is everywhere in the world. It's not only India's problem, like Poland having the same issue. So I started thinking, like, okay, so these people are brilliant, they're very good, but their mentality and thinking is different. So we need to train them how to be part of the team, how to be part of this solution team. And that's how I started build up. And I started very hard way. I go to my friends CEOs and told them, like, hey, I'm building this school. Most probably I can retrain your team as well. Would you support it? And everybody said yes. And I created just a landing page, put it like a simple credit card charging there. I said, I'll charge $1. I'm not taking your money unless I get 100 people. I'll start the school. And that happens. I got 100 people. I started the school. It's really interesting how everybody was committed and everybody agreed. I was thinking like maybe 30% will drop off. Nobody dropped off. And then I started getting a lot of very good tutors, international, very high quality, and everybody got into my vision. And it was like, we don't teach marketing, we don't teach engineering, we teach the way they think for success. And there's a critical thinking and complex problem solving. How we do that? Tell us like how we can do it. And we come up with this method. It's actually a very famous method. It's called problem-based learning, PBL. And it's very interesting. You don't teach, you don't do lectures, you don't give materials. You create a good project, a good problem for them. Like you give them a good problem, and then the students figure out how to learn on the way by solving the problem. And if you think
Almost like
that's very natural,
it's almost like a long-term hackathon.
exactly. And if you think like that's very natural for us to learn. For example, I last summer I built a pizza oven in my yard, like literally very classic pizza oven. Everything right it should be, and pizzas are perfect. Everybody love them. So again, my baking is there, and there's no course about oven building. There's YouTube videos. It's like made for entertainment. It's not made for education. And I started just building and learning on the way. That's natural way of us learning. Like they literally use this approach, problem-based learning, for training surgeons because like literally you can't say, hey, you should go try and if it works out, you learn. Like people will die on the way.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting new way of you try and explore, and then basically you learn on the way. That's how build-up works. So it's a multidisciplinary team where every students come together in a group and they solve one specific problem.
But there's less focus than on the actual result of what you're doing and more focus on like how you actually come to a solution to a problem.
The whole idea is that they focus on the customer and the actual need to solve the right problem, and that's the biggest issue. So basically, we run the first program, and it was very expensive, and we understood like we can use AI to deliver the program, and we start redesigning it with AI. But still, the content and program comes from tutors. I still do not believe AI can replace any tutor. It can be only supportive. So basically, I still believe you can't trust AI for any content teaching because, like, if you look, still 30-40% of the content is like it's created somehow. When you ask for the references, 40% of the content that it provides, it would not be able to explain where this comes from.
I was having a really interesting conversation about this with a friend of mine the other night, and we were talking about the certain things that AI can and can't replace in terms of job roles or really in terms of like the way people communicate and connect in society. You bring up the example of a tutor, right? So AI can't replace a tutor. We've seen AI dramatically change in its capabilities over the last 4 or 5 years. That's not to say it can't take, or it's going to take major dramatic jumps in the next 4 to 5 years. So these concepts that were like, it can't do this now, but it could do that then. Do you think there are any key components to something like a tutor or maybe another role like a doctor or a psychologist, or some of these kind of person to person things that will always separate humans from AI? Or do you think that there's going to be some kind of a matching point where humans aren't relevant even in those?
I think first of all, the mission critical jobs will never be replaced ever, like a doctor or I don't know, the bus driver, right? You still need the very experienced human to run those things safely for for the community and people. I think some of the other things, like for example, like just like take 5 years ago or 3 years ago, everybody would be like, "Yeah, guys, you drive the truck. Oh, the AI will replace you. Like Tesla is coming for your job, right?" And then now, look, the old designers can be replaced easily. And like there's a lot of tools, like they would generate amazing styles and design and UX. Yeah. So I think it's all transformational. I don't think all designers will be replaced, but obviously one designer can do now the job for 10. But if you look from another angle, there might be quite dramatic change for newcomers, for the junior or the just graduates, right? That can be very dramatic. Nowadays, it's very hard to find a junior job. And we have done huge research. Like we have been asking, I think, over 250 customer support representatives, like, hey, what do you see your future? Like, if AI will replace your job, let's say one day, what do you think? What are you going to do? Without asking them what to learn. And everybody was like, no, no, I'll find a new job. I'll learn it really quick. Since like I know problem solving already, I mean customer care. And that assumption might not work, maybe. Because like let's say there was a one leading designer and he needed like maybe three more to do, various tasks. Now one leading designer can do everything. Like you don't need three more people anymore. And that's the job what normally you would take juniors and like people who are starting up and early on. And that's how normally the economy works.
So if you have a startup and you're looking to bring on that one designer that can maybe service two or three development teams for a UX project, and then maybe you also need them to create marketing materials, things like that, right? So, what do you think as a leader? One of some of the primary qualities that you would be looking for from that role during the hiring process?
It's very, very good question. So I think now we have to talk about AI first teams because this is total different mentality than previous mentality when we were talking about the leading positions and we were talking about you know um, even direction leads and the CEOs are CEOs, they're executives. We were talking about leadership when you have more executives, like you have CTOs, right? You have CFOs. Now, if we change that paradigm, maybe the whole SFO and financial will be automated. Absolutely, like there will be very few things you can do. There will be like a fractional CFOs that will come on board and do all the job. Same with marketing. Maybe you don't even need someone with 350,000 salary. You have fractional someone coming and supporting you, and in that sense, like AI first team, AI mentality team would be operational team that would automate things really quick. That whatever it's like a mundane and repetitive job, it will be quickly automated, and that everybody will be very much focused on strategy and tactics and fine tuning and implementing. That's, I believe, going to be a future for any company. It doesn't matter it's startup or just a regular company. If you want to operate in that terms, like because that will be very cheap to operate.
My theory is that because of this, and because we're seeing a drop in the population of standard, full-time employee roles, there's going to be some kind of counterbalance or effect to this. In theory, I can see a lot more people starting businesses because really you have to go out and acquire your own customer base versus maybe you're just an employee working for a single customer long term course of time. Right? There's a natural change in this. So now you have a fragmentation of lots and lots and lots of small businesses in theory, right? And then there's an interconnected web between maybe elements that somebody's getting good at in one area can connect with another one. Do you think this causes a lot of confusion in the kind of service or vendor marketplace, or do you think that there is a smart ways that this is going to be handled, if that's what happens?
I think that will happen for sure. I don't think it's a bad thing. Let's look on example tourism. There is no big players. Like literally everything is like small tour guide. There's small, I don't know, hotel provider or anything. Like any market. I mean, there's no one dominant thing. Like even for some small niches that nobody can be really dominated. Airbnb tried, definitely didn't fail, unfortunately, for that occasional renting of rooms. I believe that would be very good for economy because all of those big players, like any big players in monopoly is like not that good for the economy. And I think technologically we will find the way how you balance things and how you connect everybody together and how you use all those technologies together. And I think that's where it's going. I believe uh, using MCPs and AI agents, part of like 60% of internet is going to be for AI agents. Like you literally don't even need a landing page anymore if you
Maybe
provide that.
maybe less than that, given the news that Google just limited their search results the other day to let everybody have a lot less access to information.
Yeah, you just provide the service that agent can discover, connect, automatically connect and use it, and then disconnect and not use it. I think that's what happened. That's what's going to happen with small services, and definitely this is best time to start small SaaS businesses. But again, like I think the number of entrepreneurs is always like something like around 1-2% of population. I don't think many would go into that. It's still too risky and up and downs and everything. Like people love their lives and their culture.
You think there's going to be new horizons of openings happening that we can't perceive yet? An example being in example of this being a world maybe that you were in previously, which is VR, like an entire world of possibility in terms of jobs and opportunities and things happening in these kind of alternate versions of things that we just don't conceive of at the moment because we haven't had the ability to create them effectively.
Very hard question. It's fairly. Let's look back. Like literally, if we look back 7 years ago, we had been so sure like VR is going to be absolutely transformational. Everybody's going to be in VR. And there was this book, Ready Player One, and then there was a movie uh, produced by Martin Scorsese, and we were like, "Yes, this is our moment. We eventually got it." And then, yes, everything goes to normal. Like, yeah, everybody have VR device. They use it once per month, and it is pretty much like it's like a Sony PlayStation, but even less because like you can't share it in the same room. And I think most of those technologies are going to repeat that kind of cycle unless better technologies come and makes it very, very useful. With AI, like everybody understand it's very useful, but they're not using it that much. And they're generating
Or
emails
for
and
for very limited purposes.
exactly. So all of this AI agent stuff is like really cool. There's this service N8N. It's open source. You can install locally and start any agent you want. How many people really using it? How much it's useful for the regular businesses? I don't think so. I think like there will be a huge learning curve coming with it, and implementing the learning will take maybe 3-4 years. That's how slow. It doesn't matter how quick OpenAI will release new versions. It's still, like humans have to adapt to it, and it's like I think it's a tremendous change for the humans to adapt to this.
So this is an interesting topic. So N8N, as of yesterday, is in a lot more of a threatened position based on the topic we were talking about earlier, which is the larger platforms coming in and shutting out developers, because ChatGPT just launched its agent platform, which is essentially, in theory, going to replace N8N or Zapier or Make or any of those guys that have automation built in. Do you think there's room in the marketplace for both the platforms to have that and those platforms to exist?
Yes, absolutely. I think like there's a tremendous change in software, and that's definitely a huge change. Like we have been using software, like to store and classify and you know and then structure the data, and that's all the technology was doing for us, right? And now there's one more layer, very very unique, that we never anticipated. Now, if we were before doing the software for the accountants, now we can replace an accountant. And this is not a futuristic thing. It can happen right now. And what I'm thinking, like, if we are that transformational, all of the high tech jobs going to be transformed immediately. It will take more time to transform other things, of course, but I think there's a lot of room. Imagine all of the softwares can be replaced, some much quicker and much more effective, others much slower and much more difficult to replace humans.
So if you're thinking about this being a leader in the high tech space, what are the things you have to consider for the next 3 to 5 years, given that perspective? Because I think these are a lot of questions that people like CTOs and tech CEOs and things like that are constantly thinking about. Is like, okay, whatever strategy they put into place now, is there a possibility it's completely transformed in the next 1, 2, 3 years?
Recently, I've been talking to some of VCs, and everybody's saying the same. Like, oh my God, like startup started like 40 years ago. They were like designing the real value for the users, right? But they would never anticipate all the AI happening. And then literally, the VC's problem is like some of those companies that comes and solve problem with AI, they don't need A round or B round or C round. They're so successful with one single seed, they can get to profitability. They don't need any funding anymore.
Yeah, because they,
And
they
that's
have
what is
they have a
happening.
staff they have a staff of 10 or 20 building these
Exactly.
very robust toolkits that were never there before.
And the mentality, yeah, that means like they automate whatever is not necessary for the core business. Like, hey, you don't need to think about infrastructure, open or cloud. Like, yeah, let's automate it. It's quick. There's a lot of tools for that. And that's kind of like you don't hire now DevOps and do all of the crazy stuff. You don't need. So before the whole logic was like, hey, we need to grow to 300 people, but the VCs believe in our A round or B round or
Mhm.
whatever round it is. Now you don't. There's a one website. It's called Tiny ARR. So big, not Tiny Teams ARR. So it shows how small the team compared to their ARR, how much money they're making per year. And it's funny, it's like a very, very beautiful page. A lot of cool startups that they really quickly, with 10 people, got to huge numbers. And all of the BCs are impacted because again, like most of them are not investing on pre-seed or seed stage. They invest later stage. And now
Yeah.
they have to move through those stages. But I think there's one important thing, like you said, like what they have to be prepared for. I think they have to forget all AI. It's just part of the technology. Again, we are not talking about SQL, right? Like because it's just like a database, but it is technology. Like they say AI wrapper. All of the previous software was like SQL wrappers. It's like a
Right.
technology.
Yeah.
It's nothing
Yeah.
special.
And machine learning's been embedded in it for a long time, so more advanced interfacing with it.
Absolutely. And what I think is like they have to expect there will be like absolute the top company is going to be like education. Another top company is going to be, I don't know, um, like logistics company. Like they will be absolutely everywhere because they do it very well. everybody wants to trust them because it's very fashion and the technologies that they can scale. I think that's what everybody have to be prepared, not to call it whatever AI it is. And of course, making software with agents is going to be very good. But going to speak with the real values, they have to think again, like about the what core values they provide.
Makes sense. Going back to the world of baking, do you think the bakers are a threat?
I don't think so. No. There's
No.
no way
Okay.
somebody can replace them, especially some special baking like like that takes forever, like to prepare and mix and yeah, it's I don't think like there's so many professions that not that is going to replace, but also so many professions that is like going to transform absolutely, like a customer care. There will be like
Yeah.
a customer care engineers that will work crazy amount of effectiveness, and all other people, like just like regular people answering the phone, there will be no people like that. Right now, there's a technology you can call from US number. You would never be believe it's AI. You would be like, no way, this is AI, and it's working crazy beautifully and very, very good. Of course, it cannot do some very difficult stuff. For example, if customer requires a refund, it still needs to be someone to approve that. Either then there will be a loops in the system getting a lot of money back. But I think like so many things is going to change, and we need to be prepared. I don't think it's going to be very painful. Like I think a lot of new education is coming forward. I saw some of them. I've been on some conferences, and I saw beautiful, very, very smart um, uh, AI tutors becoming with mixed with real tutors. And that's very, very smart.
Great. It's amazing. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to look at not only kind of the future and what we see happening, as AI is integrated more and more into the workflows of our uh, daily lives, but also thinking about how we actually train and lead towards that and start to empower people to be able to use this tool set and maybe not be so afraid of it. So really thank you for that. And I'm excited to hear your top 5 tips and hear what you have to say about your recommended leadership perspectives. Welcome back, everybody. We're excited to have you here again. I'm here with Albert. We're talking about um, leadership as it looks in the world of AI. He's worked in the world of VR and even a baker. So we're excited to hear your top 5 tips today, Albert. And maybe you could start and let us know when you came up with these. What were you thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say, like, I have been teaching project management in university for quite some time, and I have to come was one is the most important. Like, everybody's forgetting about it, and I wanted to remind about that. Like, it's those like throwing more people to late projects or tasks makes it later, and it's like a very, very important one. Like, literally, I can see this all over. This is like a very, very standard thing in project management. That's the first one. So with me. The second,
Number one.
I based on my experience, based on working with a lot of people, I think the integrity is the most important. No integrity, no trust. This is like the mantra that you have to go. I think you can get less educated people. It's easy to educate them. It's impossible to create trust without it to be from the first place. And that's, I think, like the most important when you start a team, when you create a team, working on trust, working on integrity. Uh, the third one is a balance in the team. So I personally think there should be a very emotional and you know performance and ambitions based people, like literally very, very strong ones, but it has to be balanced with people that is settled and calm and loving, having everything in the flow. This is very important, I believe. If it's one or another, it will be either crazy, conflicting team or very slow in building things.
So,
That's
so
what
what
I
you're
found.
saying, so what you're saying is kind of as a leader, finding that kind of recipe, get your bakery back, that recipe of kind of personalities that create a culture that
Exactly.
allows allows there to be like a push towards like kind of that strong push towards technological innovation, but at the same time making sure that it's a place that people enjoy working.
Exactly. So it's a stability and ambition that increase the performance. And again, like as a leader, you have to look how you drive the team to the performance because there will be conflicts, there will be problems, but how you really integrate everyone together in that team, building that performance.
Right, that makes sense. What do you got next?
The next one is that I start with the finish line first. So what does it mean? Whenever I hire someone, I'm going to tell them like, hey, most probably you're not going to work here all your life, and we know that average is 3 years, which is absolutely fine. We understand that. You understand that. Why not we start from the finish? What do you want to do next? What's your goal? Where you want to be there? I will spend a lot of energy to make sure you get there. So you can spend your energy on building this product and do not think about your future yourself. I believe this is like, it's not just leadership, but it's something like a transformational for people. Coming to work with us, it means they achieve their goals as well. Not just like a company or, as a entrepreneur, my personal goals because if it's not there, then everybody's still going to do that. Everybody's still going to think about their future and where they're going to land, and that's where I want to be leading. I want to know that, and I want to help that person to get their interest is.
Easy. That's great. Um,
And the last
well,
one,
oh yeah, yeah. Number five. What do you got?
my profession. Uh, I'll put people first. Uh, all of the technology, all of the arguments, all of the, criticism, everything going happening there, always happening. Are we going to be okay with that? Are we going to be less stressful, happier? Because like whatever we argue, whatever a customer or the problem or the anything, what I want to know is like I am standing for their back, that I am going to support them anyway, and I'm going to be there to support there because, of course, with all startups, I have been doing startups for about
Yeah.
14 years now. For all the startups, there's a risk, and I want to be honest. Like, hey, we can fail easily. Yeah, it's not even market forces, people first. So let's be
It's
sure everybody is having good time and having everything what they need.
and so this I think it's such a simple one, and you do hear this from a lot of tech leaders, but what it seems like we're seeing in the world today is that people are second to technology. And how do we actually rectify that concept of people first in a world where there's so many cuts happening and so much efficiency? And even with us working with smaller teams, do you think there's a changing shape in the way that people first shows up?
Yeah, I think it's just by setup. You just from the front you say like, hey, this is what we're going to do. Like it's all right. We'll change the course. We'll do crazy stuff. We'll rebuild it maybe a couple times. So be prepared, and we want to stay together on this. Like even if the technology shift, you will have to adapt. You will have to learn, and this is the world now. We reintroduce ourselves to those technologies and to the new methods every year now. Like if it
Mhm.
was like 5 years, every 5 years, now it's like
Now it's every
almost
year.
every year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just need to be ready for it. Like, hey, we hire you because we believe next if there's some crazy stuff happening, you will be able to adjust. And that's why we can build this company.
Well, thank you. Those are incredible insights. We really appreciate you taking the time to really think those through and then bring them to us. It's been really exciting to hear how you've evolved in your career and kind of gotten to this place. And you clearly have an extensive amount of knowledge in the way that these pieces are all playing together now. So again, thank you for the insight. And if people want to check you out, visit Build Up School, correct?
It's
And
easy to find, and if you were interested to look into our mission, yeah, I'd love to share that. And thank you, Ron, for inviting me.
yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.